Well, that's the easy bit, I think, and it's not welding too bad. Old castings, you get a bit of crap coming out of the metal, and obviously I'm touching down in the odd place, which is never good, but it's half the course on these kind of things. So yeah, so far so good. Now, these horrible bits in the side. Oh. Right, I was hoping that putting this piece in the top here would allow me to now knock this in without messing this bit up, because that is sticking out loads. But I'm kind of wondering whether putting that piece in the top has made this worse. I used this blowtorch. It's propane butane mix gas. Quite powerful, surprising actually. And that was enough to soften this metal enough that I could knock this in and get it lined up a bit better than it was. So that is not too bad across there and across there. Let's take that bit out of the way from that. Not too bad across there. Yeah. Up to there. That bit. So this is all a bit straighter than it was originally. Next step is going to be to put this piece in. So I've got a piece of steel clamped to the bottom flange of the sump there, and now I can clamp this bit on, wiggle it about a bit till it's aligned, and try and weld that up. Right, that bit's on there where it needs to be, well, clamped in position. So just got to try and get the torch between the clamps and weld it. Well, I was hoping that welding this in here would pull this down, and it has. Unfortunately, it's pulled it down too much, so we've now got a huge gap under here. I don't know whether putting this piece in will put it back again. Probably not. Oh, poop. That might pull this up. Tricky damn things. So I started off, I tacked this piece on the inside, so I could have it resting on something across it to line it up. So I tacked it at that corner, knocked that corner down this way round to get this level across here. This is looking quite good. I thought, well, okay, I'll weld it all the way along here. And of course, what that has done is lifted it up here. So now I've got to see if I can knock this down. So yeah, that's a bit more like it. So that's pretty level now. And I guess I might as well go and weld along here. And this will probably pull this whole end section in even more. well, we'll see. Well, this is not too bad now. Having this clamped to the table before this was welded, that has pulled that into shape, so that's not too bad. I can't help thinking we've got the missing bits to make now, so I've got to make a piece to fit in here. I can't help thinking that welding this in, it's going to squeeze this in again, but hopefully if I put this piece in here in first, it shouldn't do. This bit should stop this from squeezing in, and then we'll be able to put this bit in, hopefully without too many problems, too many issues. I think what I will do though is I'm gonna, this is a bit of a random shape, so I'm going to straighten off of these sides, this one, cut across here, a little bit across the bottom as well, so that the piece I put in there is going to be easier to make, and easier to make it fit the hole. So yeah, we'll do that. And similar sort of thing going on the other side. Very irregular shaped piece here. Yeah, so I think I shall cut that straight across there, cut this straight down here. I've got this piece to fit in here. I don't know how I'm going to hold this in, because ideally you want this, again, to brace across between here and here, so that it stops it pulling in, but yeah, it's kind of tapered or angled at each end, so I don't know how that's going to work. And also, that's very thin there, that's a bit daft putting that piece on, because it's just going to melt away when I come to weld it. Similar sort of thing here. By the time I've cut a chamfer in there for a weld to have somewhere to go, it's going to be very, very minimal amount of metal there. So yeah, we'll see how we get on with that. But again, I really want to put this in before I weld this up. Although it also, this piece has got to be welded across here, obviously. Yeah, I don't know about this weld across here, whether it would be better to put this up here onto here before the whole thing is put in. Not sure at the minute. Oh, this is hard to hold and cut at the same time. It's something to push against, I think. Right, I had this piece laid in here nice and flat, and just putting that tack there has lifted this up. So now I've got to try and knock that down without breaking the tap. Did I say tap? Tack. No, it's got to be down lower than that. That is, oh, wrong. Well, that'll do there, so I might just tack there. See what that does to this end. Well, that's held that down. This pulled up. I've just tapped that down just a tiny bit there to get that level. So now another tack there, and that should be that piece fixed in place. So we got that tacked there. A lot of soot come out here, and there's another crack goes that way, so that's got to be gone over. And that tack has cracked. I intended to use 5% mag rod on this because this is a sheet material, 5000 series alloy, and I've just used the 5% silicon on this, and that's cracked, which is surprising. So we'll go over this. And then come down to this bit, I think. And now these two tacks are cracked, that one and that one. Wondering what's the best rod to be using. Probably a 4943 might be a good compromise, but I don't have any. I might go back to the silicon rods, 4043. I want to use that to repair this anyway. To just contaminated that metal with some carbon. Brush that off before we go. So yeah, let's try this. Come down here. Well, as I suspected, that much welding has caused some serious distortion. Bear in mind, every one of these welds would have pulled in that way and pulled in that way. And this thing is not flat anymore. Actually, it doesn't look too terrible on video, but no, there's a huge gap. That is terrible. That is absolutely awful there. Just there, that's huge. This is 1.5mm thickness steel, and that is going in there dead easy. That is this corner is pulled down loads. I don't know what we're going to do about that. I don't see how we can skim it, and if we did, it's probably going to mess this up. God, I don't know. Maybe it'll have to be skimmed, and then they'll have to put 2 gaskets on. Right, seeing as when I put this piece in, it pulled this up, I'm going to try laying some more welds across the top here, hoping that they will do the same thing. Pull this up to compensate for the way that these welds here have pulled this down. Yeah, don't know how successful it will be, how many welds it might need to make any difference, but I think we'll give that a go, because it's going to be a bugger to try and machine the face of this. And if we machine it enough so that it's straight, it's going to end up with this being small. It's going to be lower. So I'd rather avoid doing that. So yeah, we'll see what we can do about putting some welds here, and on the inside as well. I think I will also grind these welds off, try and make this flat. I don't know if it'll make much difference to the tension in these welds, but might help a little weeny bit, and it'll look better. That's not a big deal, seeing as what this is. But yeah, I think I will do that. Shame, I've actually got some quite nice looking welds here, but yeah, we're going to take them off. This piece I put in here was fine when it was just tacked at each end, across here and here, there and there. However, once I'd welded it across here and on the inside along here, this pulled down, so there was quite a pronounced dip going on here. And really, I guess the way around that is I should have predicted it and pre-bent this with a bit of an arch upwards, and fitted this piece to suit this, or I could have had a thicker piece of metal in there, I suppose, and had it all proud and smoothed it off afterwards. It was nice to have it level and the right kind of thickness, but yeah, I should have known that it would have pulled in. So I tried with the sump up the other way, with the sump down on this face, to push this down. I had it in a press, and of course what that did is it bent it over, and cracked the weld along here. So I've had to re-weld this, and I don't know if that's pulled it back up again, made it just as bad as it was before. Doesn't look so bad along this edge here, because I think it is still slightly bent out. There's a gap on the inside there now. It doesn't look too bad along here, along that edge, but further over that side, the dip is still there. I don't think there's anything I can do about it. I daren't try and build this up with weld. That would be a lot of welding, and then it would need to be machined flat. I'm hoping we can avoid having to go down that route. And I've done a few things to try and pull the whole thing back a bit more level, whereas this definitely pulled in from these welds, and especially the welds on the other side. So what I tried to do, I've peened all these welds to try and take the tension out of them. I really don't know if that's done very much. Might have helped a little bit. So I've done that. Same on this side. Same on this side with these welds. These have all been peened around here. Couldn't get into that one, so I couldn't do much with that. So yeah, that may or may not have done very much. Couldn't have hurt, but it was more time, which might have been wasted. So there was that, peening the inside of the welds. And then, once I'd smoothed this down, there were some low spots. Quite a bad low spot here, and some across here and a little bit across there. And I've just gone over those with weld. Put a big bead around there, and across here, and across here, all around here. And the other one there, I think. And I think that must have done something to pull this back up. And then I ran some beads on the inside here. Pretty ugly, lumpy things. But I think that again has done something to pull that in on that side. So it's still bent, but not nearly as much as it was before. It doesn't rock, so both sides are pretty much the same. But whereas previously I was able to get a 1.5mm piece of metal easily went underneath here, now we can barely get a 0.5mm piece underneath. So that is a heck of a lot better. Similar story on this side. Yeah, the low spot seems to be a bit further along, strangely, but yeah. And I'm hopeful that they'll be able to get away with an extra gasket or extra sealant on the gasket. It is only a sump, there's no pressure inside it, obviously, so just don't want it leaking oil. But hopefully they might get away with that. I've still got to open these holes out and spot face tops, and also I'd like really to get rid of these welds on the outside. It would be nice to make it look as if it hadn't had any work done to it. And I suppose the only worry is that if I take these welds off, will that take away the tension that is currently pulling this up and mean that that'll bend down again and increase the gap here. I think it's got to be done, and possibly if it does do that, I might lay some more welds on the inside to compensate, but at the moment I'm hoping that as it stands it will be good enough. Well, let's first go at sanding all these welds off. Not too bad, there's a few low spots, one there, and that crease there, I don't know whether I really want to weld across there because that will pull it back where I don't want it to be pulled. This one here might actually help to put a bit more weld over that. Yeah, I think I might have another little go at that. Oh, this is more and more work though. It's just crazy how this is carrying on and on and on. And then on the other side, right, and on the top we've got another low spot here, and you can see some holes from the previous run of weld across here. Nature of the beast, I think. But again, I think a bit more of a weld across here won't hurt. Might actually pull it back a bit more. Might not, but it won't hurt. And this one here, and that bit there, a little bit there. So yeah, a bit more touching up, a bit more welding, a little bit more across here. It's down the side, it's not looking too bad. That's just a couple of low spots there and there. And again, a little bit more weld over these areas is probably not going to hurt. It's going to pull it in the right direction. So yeah, a bit more welding, a bit more sanding, get it looking better, and it may even strain it up a bit more. We'll see. Last bit of grinding done, or maybe I should call it sanding done with an angle grinder. And pretty much all of the welds removed from the outside. I might just go over it now with a random orbital and smooth it off a bit more. Complete waste of time really, but just to see what can be done. Right, so we'll go at that. Right, that's it, I think, as far as this finish is concerned. And I reckon that looks pretty much as if it's just been sanded down for a bit of a repaint. Yeah, not quite flat, but I think they'll be able to cope with that. And yeah, a bit of a waste of time going to this extent to smooth all this off, because it's a sump in a boat. Nobody will ever see this. But yeah, just an exercise to see what can be done, I suppose, and to see what kind of problems you're faced with. Well, I've still got to counterbore these holes, spot face these holes, but that really will be it once that's done. That'll do.